I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today, my guest is Branden O'Neill. We'll be back to talk with him after this.
Talkapolis programming is sponsored in part by the Vein Center, now celebrating 10 years service in Nashville, Tennessee.
Welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
So you have a background in advertising and marketing, and for the early part of your career, you worked mostly with larger agencies. Is that right?
Actually, so I grew up in Atlanta, worked with Verizon Wireless for a little while, and then I worked
Pretty big
for
company.
Somewhat, yeah. And then, and actually, funny story about that, leading into entrepreneurship, I'll come back to. Went to a small agency from there.
Okay.
Worked with IBM as part of that agency. I worked with an agency there. But what's funny about my entrepreneurial story is when I was at Verizon Wireless, I was in college working for Verizon and started with an internship and then moved into a part-time job, and actually got laid off. So before I even graduated college, I got laid off from a job, and so I was thinking about that story today. I was like, man, I got taught that lesson
really
at pretty early age.
Yeah, really early.
Yeah.
So, but you've worked with some bigger groups since, and as you started this new venture, and it's marketing
strategy
coaches,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have focused on a very specific niche with this business.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how you came up with that niche, because what you do is you provide marketing strategy for very, very small companies.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that idea come from? Kind of how did you vet that idea out, and then we'll kind of talk about how it's changed and evolved a little bit.
Yeah. So I was working for Dave Ramsey. I've worked for Dave Ramsey for about 7 or 8 years. And one of the stats that Dave threw out there within the Entre Leadership brand was that 90% of American business has 20 employees or less. And I got to thinking about that stat, and it really blew me away. I coming from the agency world, they didn't really want to talk to you unless, they'll tell you that they work with small businesses, but they didn't want to talk to you unless you had $20,000 to $50,000 a month to spend.
Right, because it's just as much work to do that as it is to do $1,000 a month.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. And so I thought about those small guys, the 15 employees, the 20 employees, the 1 employee, Nobody's out there really helping them from a marketing perspective. Nobody's helping them from a business perspective. And
right.
so, but there's a challenge there. There's not a lot of money there. There's a reason why nobody's wanting to do that. And so what I've done is I'm not the first person to do it, but we've attached to this coaching model.
Right.
And so we have several coaches across the country, and what we do is we develop a marketing strategy for these small businesses at a very affordable price. And then we coach them month to month on how to get that strategy done.
So it's a very specific kind of coaching, because a lot of the coaches that are out there coach about everything and anything. Mm-hmm. And you stick to the marketing part of things?
We do, yeah. We stick to the marketing.
Do they ever try and pull you into other stuff too?
Sometimes, and we'll do it sometimes. One of the things that I tell my coaches, and one of the things I tell my clients all the time is, hey, if I don't know, I'm just going to tell you that I don't know.
Right.
We have a lot of resources to be able to help you find out.
Right.
And so really, I think where a lot of value comes is we know the right people. We know that we can get them the answer that they need and that they want.
So so hearing that stat from Dave, and he's right. There's 26 million small businesses in the U.S. It's a huge market.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that and recognizing there's a really good opportunity there, kind of two different things. What kind of convinced you that there really was truly an opportunity in this idea that you had?
Doing it.
Just getting it started.
Yeah. It was, I did it on the side with, as I was working for Dave.
Right.
But really what it was starting to have those conversations with folks. It was just sitting there knee to knee with them and seeing what their needs were, seeing what their problems were, and falling in love with the small business and falling in love with their problems.
How much, as you had those conversations, did your idea evolve and change from what it was when you first?
A lot. Yeah, originally what I was going to do was have a bunch of, I think we still called them coaches or something like that at that point, but for like $300 or something, you know, you can come to the website, schedule a call with us, and you can ask us any marketing question, you know, that you have, and we'll help you through that. We're all practitioners. We've got daytime jobs, you know, whatever. And now it's evolved to what it is today, and it really just serves our market a lot better.
They want to sit down face to face. They want to get to know you a little bit better. Is that kind of what you heard?
Yeah. I mean, it's a trust business, you know, and so it's all about us getting in there and understanding their business. We change our vernacular as they become a client. We change our vernacular to us and we, not you guys, and you need to do this and things like that. We are literally a part of their team, and so that's important, you know. And you can't get that from just a one-off call. I won't do anything less than a 6-month deal, because anything less than that, we're just not going to be able to get the kind of traction. We're not going to be able to get the kind of trust that's needed in order to.
And you've been doing this for how long now?
3 years. I've been doing it full time for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And pretty good retention of customers. Is that been reinforcing to the business model, or?
I haven't lost a customer yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hadn't thought about that, but I haven't.
Because you would imagine that, you know, once you kind of coach them through some of that early stuff, you know, as an outsider, I might say, well, they probably don't need him anymore then, but they still need you and still have new questions and new issues that come up.
Yeah. I mean, we just become. That is a problem, and it's a problem. It's a good problem. It's coaching ourselves out of a job, and we're upfront with them on that. You know, we expect to coach ourselves out of a job, but yeah, inevitably we just become a part of the team so much that that they just kind of want us around all the time. They're constantly asking for that advice. So yeah.
As this has grown, how have you managed the growth of your own company? And how many do you have full-time coaches, or is everybody still part-time? Or
that's part of my business model. Yeah, I come from Verizon. Where I come from, you know, Dave Ramsey's office, and you know, I wanted to not have employees for as long as possible, and so I up till still now I don't have any employees. Everybody works for me on a 1099 basis, and so there's beauty to that, though. All my coaches have a lot of flexibility. All my vendors have a lot of, or all my subcontractors have a lot of flexibility. So, for instance, I worked with Duck Dynasty, Duck Commander.
Yep.
We did an event for them, and I built up to a team of about 12 in order to handle that account. And we worked really hard on that. Did a great job. But as soon as that account was done, we shrunk back down to just me.
Right.
You know. And I think that's really important. You know, I'm profitable from day one because of that model.
You have
because
no overhead.
I have no overhead.
Right.
You know, and I don't know where I would be if I had to go into so much debt in order to hire on somebody, or have all that capital borrowed. It's working for me right now.
Your
so
former boss might hunt you down.
Exactly. Besides that, I'm not preaching the message here. For me, it's been a great way to grow and grow steadily.
I mean, I've done both. I've done heavily financed and scaled startups, and we're doing one now that's completely bootstrapped. And boy, I sleep a lot better at night. And it's nice to see that, the first dollar's coming in. Go right to work and not to somebody else. So.
Absolutely.
What a great story. I hope there's a lot of small business people out here that watch this, and because I know they could all use some help, and give you a call.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, Branden.